All right, guys, Steve from SS Airsoft, and you know who I'm with, Cliff from Elite Force.
What's up?
Join us again for the 8th year, man. I appreciate you coming all the way out and showing the support like you always do.
It's awesome to be here.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Yep.
So tell us, let's work it this way. There's a lot of new latest and greatest coming to Elite Force. There's a lot of hype around some things. Maybe they're in the middle of the table. Let's save the best for last. What do you think?
Okay.
So tell us about some of the new equipment, new things, the direction Elite Force is taking things on. You're launching a lot of product out of it.
We got about, I'd say, 35 to 40 new products we're launching this year. That'll still come out in the remainder of the year. A couple things I'm not showing here yet just because they're not quite finished. I got a couple limited edition guns that are coming out in November. That'll be pretty exciting.
Everybody loves the limited edition guns.
Yeah, they pretty much fly. They don't last long.
Right.
You know, we started the limited edition stuff a few years ago, and it's kind of like people expect it now almost. What are they going to do for limited edition?
It's almost like a collector's thing now, you know. I know some kids have got the limited edition pistols and they keep stacking them up. So.
Yeah, we've talked to people that actually don't play Airsoft and all they do is buy the limited edition stuff. They just have a collection of it. It's crazy.
Right.
But let me talk about a little bit what we got here today. One thing I want to talk about, which we showed, I do believe we did show it a little bit at SHOT Show, but this is the new Avalon Gladius, PDW that we're coming out with. It'll have the ECS Gen 2 Avalon gearbox. It's kind of a different platform than what our Saber and Caliber series is going to be. I think it's a lot smaller, compact, really lightweight. I think a lot of people are really going to take to it. Everyone's wanting the PDW short style rifles right now.
Yeah.
It's very clean. I like the cuts in the body. But it's something I'm pretty excited about. Those will hopefully be out in October. And it'll retail around the same price as like the Saber CQB or Caliber CQC.
Okay.
So right around that $350 price point.
Stays with a 1-year warranty.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, everything we do that retails for over $250 has a 1-year warranty.
Fantastic.
Doesn't matter what it is, it gets a 1-year warranty. Which means, so a lot of people don't know this, but you send it in 10 months down the road, and let's say we don't have that part, we're not going to make you wait on that part. You just get a new gun. That's on us. It's not on you.
Wow.
Which a lot of people don't know that. They don't realize that. We get letters all the time. People like sending their gun in for maintenance or whatever, 8-10 months down the road because something went wrong, went south, and it's expecting a few week wait and repair, and then turn around in a week later and get a brand new gun. They're just mind blown. People don't realize.
I'd be mind blown.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize, but that's our policy. And then when that happens, we put that on our service department to order new parts to keep that from happening in the future. But
Right.
That's not the consumer's fault that we don't have it. So we try and keep everything on hand. We also launched this year the Avalon Gen 2 ECS gearbox for anyone that has a VFC gun and you want to update it to the newest gearbox, but you don't have one of those here. But it's basically the same gearbox that's in the Gladius and all the new Avalons that we're coming out with this year. Those are going to retail right around $150 to completely update your VFC.
Oh, we definitely need to bring those in house. Just to drop in gearbox that can take a gun to that level would be phenomenal.
Yeah, and if you install it as a authorized dealer, we're also going to put a 1-year warranty on that gearbox.
Wow.
Even though it's not $250, but you're putting it in a gun that's over $250, so we'll warranty that gearbox for a year.
That's crazy.
So, when we talk about the Gladius, we're also doing the HK 416A5. That's going to also have the ECS Gen 2 gearbox with a lot of the A5 it has the A5 sights, the A5 trigger, the A5 ambi-mag release,
Wow.
the A5 stock. So there's quite a few things we made. We've been out of stock of the 416 CQBs for a while now, and it's because we're revamping all the new high-end HK stuff to all have Avalon internals. So we'll have the 416A5, the M27's being updated right now. The MP5 Elite line that we had, they're updating the body so we can put modified ECS gearboxes in those as well. So it's pretty exciting. But the new high-end HK line is going to, everything we come out that's VFC OEM'd that's going to be in the elite level category is going to have an ECS gearbox in it.
We haven't had the 416s in our shelves for a minute because we've sold out, but we still have people come in and ask for the 416 by name. I mean, that's what they want, 416.
It's an iconic rifle.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's
So
still a lot of hype around it, and now that you've created it to be next level. That's going to be
I believe
fantastic for all
HK
retailers.
showed the 416A5 2 SHOT shows ago, so it's not still relatively new. And typically in airsoft, we run 2 to 3 years behind what real firearms are doing. So that's about on point, on time for the airsoft replica. A lot of times the airsoft companies also want to make sure the real firearm takes off and does well before they invest all the money in tooling to make a great replica. You know, yeah.
Before they bring out a bombshell.
Yep.
Tell us about this big old beast.
So this, I mean, it's hard to explain how heavy, you know, how heavy this thing is.
I picked this thing up and I was blown away that. I mean,
yeah. So the bolt's about that long and that big around that travels in there. So the recoil on it's insane. So we started, Umrex was selling the airgun version of this for about a year and a half now. It is in our top 5 airgun sellers right now. And we've been getting asked for the airsoft version for a while. Pretty much what has taken so long is when they designed this based off an airgun, they didn't think about incorporating and designing a hop-up. So we're redesigning it a little bit to incorporate a hop-up into this system. And that's taken the supplier quite a while to make it happen. I do think it's going to happen this year, but my guess is probably going to be November at the earliest. So this will be like a Christmas item.
Okay.
So
CO2 driven.
CO2 blowback. Now a couple CO2s, you're only really getting 2 mags off 2 CO2s because all that extra CO2 is going to the extreme blowback. So it's definitely a novelty gun for sure. But it's just cool. And the World War II stuff's really hot right now with all the video games that are out. So we're excited about it. Wish we could have been on point with some of these other video game launching this at the same time, which would have been better. But, you know, we had to make some improvements in it, and that takes a while.
Well, that's manufacturing, and for you guys that don't understand and know, it's just not easy to snap your fingers and boom, there it is.
I wish it was. Everyone's like yelling at us about these, you know, like, oh, those have been around forever. Well, that's not the point. They got to be right. You got to manufacture thousands of them and thousands of them, so when the consumer gets them in their hand, they're having a good time with them, and they're not worried about breakage. Mm-hmm. So trust me, guys, you just don't snap your finger and something happens. There's revision after revision after revision of designing and developing a product. There's multiple hours into fit and finish. There's multiple hours into functionality. Mm-hmm. And so if you guys just don't understand, you know, pay attention to it. It's real tough to make something as precise and precision as, especially a blowback gun, I would think. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and tell the world about the new, you heard it right here, Glocks. Yep. When are they going to be here? Come on, let's do it. So there's a really good chance here in April we'll be getting a shipment in. I'm pretty confident when I say that this time. Only 2 models right now at this point that we got approved. We got the Gen 3 G19 gas blowback and the Gen 4 G17 gas blowback. So those are the first 2 that have made it completely through the QC process and have been signed off and approved by Glock Austria and Glock USA. So those are the first 2 on the market. People keep asking us, are you going to do a 34? Are you going to do a Gen 5? Are you going to do this and that? I'm like, of course we're going to introduce new models each year. But this is the biggest license in airsoft since forever.
Who knows, right?
And it's not all going to happen at once.
I'll tell you this is the one that's been waited on for the longest, I'm thinking. And you know, it probably has so much hype around it because everybody knows. Mm-hmm. But, you know, who is this going to be OEM'd by?
Right now we're working with three OEMs. We're working with VFC, KWC, and Windgun. Those are the only 3 approved factories for us that we're allowed to work with right now at this point. You're going to look at KWC being mostly focused on CO2 because KWC is a lot better at CO2. VFC being a high focus on just the green gas models. Now, I'm not saying we do have samples and prototypes of guns that are CO2 driven from VFC. It's just right now at first we're focusing on releasing the VFC gas blowback versions.
So this will look just like this, full-on Glock trades.
Yep, and a question what a lot of people don't realize, back when these were unlicensed and they were coming through different brands and coming in the States, They weren't to true spec, so a lot of people were like, oh, well, so-and-so doesn't fit this holster or this holster. That's not the case. Everything we release that's Glock approves based on it being 100% replica. So if it doesn't lock into a holster, Glock's not going to let us call it a G17 and approve that as a gun. So people don't realize that. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So no matter what, if the real firearm fits that holster, then the airsoft replica has to fit that holster. There's no, oh, it's a little bit off, or you got to do this to modify it. There is none of that. It's completely one-to-one.
So you guys heard it. It's going to come out with 2 models. The lineup will grow, so be patient, because there's R&D to had on all the other models. You can't just launch everything at one time. We got to get some in the pipeline and then bring others behind it.
Yep.
And how many total Glocks do you think there?
I'm looking 12 to 15 in the next 3 years.
Wow.
So that's being all the way from a CO2 non-blowback all the way up to a CNC slide steel component high-end version, like a 34 or something like that. We'll do different models. We are only allowed to sell the licensed Glock and the licensed Glock mag. Under the Elite Force brand, we will have Elite Force rebuild kits for all these products. But that is the only 2 products we're allowed to sell by Glock, is the actual gun and the mag.
So what's the box going to look like?
It's actually so all the gas blowback and CO2 blowbacks that are non-CNC slide with steel components, which what we're calling our the higher end versions. I'm not sure really. We don't have the terminology set for that, but they'll come in a gray Glock box that's designed and approved by Glock. I'm sure some people have seen that box floating around. I meant to bring a box, and actually, to be honest with you, I forgot. But then the higher end ones that have CNC slides are actually going to come in a real Glock firearm box that we're purchasing from Glock. And so they'll be produced, tested, and put into Glock boxes and shipped to the States.
Well, you see how serious this is getting, guys, and I know the world is excited to see this gun come out. We're excited to see this gun out, and I'm actually glad it's just happening with such a wonderful company that stands behind their products. And we've always had good luck with the products, and we love doing business with you, so we're excited to see it go.
You know, and one thing I'd like to stress to the consumers, too, is, you know, the longer it takes us, trust me, it's better for you. Because we're finding things that are not acceptable and not okay by any means in the standards and how they're being used, how they're going to be misused, and that stuff, the longer it takes, the better it's going to be completely honest. So if you're upset about a few months here, a few months there, or even 6 months on a product, just know that when you get it, it's not the original Gen 1 that everyone was expecting. It's probably Gen 3, Gen 5. Heck, we've had some guns, like for example, the VP9 that's being released this year, technically is like Gen 8, and it's never even been released in the States yet.
Wow.
So it was released overseas and in Asia and other places. Gen 2s, Gen 3s, they found some things they need to improve. We found some things we wanted to improve. And when it's all said and done, the very first VP9 gas blowback that will be released in the States later on this year will actually be like a Gen 8. So
and look, I know because I manufactured stuff in my other career, so I understand what it takes. You got to build, rebuild, until the process is refined and the quality's there.
Yep. So
people who understand, and people that don't just won't get it anyway. So stick with them, guys. When they get here, they're definitely going to be at SSR Soft. They're going to be awesome. And you know we do a lot with Elite Force, so come down and check them out.
Yep, for sure. Oh, forgot to mention also, too, this was something we shared on our Instagram and Facebook. This is the HK MK23 by KWA. We're not actually selling these in the States right now currently. We may do a limited run coming up in a year or two. But this was actually going to be a special raffle prize here for your event. So when you come by and talk to me and engage with me, I can show you how you can earn the raffle ticket for this here at the event only. We're going to try and do that more, like events that we attend. We're going to try and do something special for those events where it's not just a normal gun that you can win. It gives you another reason to show up and attend and engage with the brands and the dealers and the retailers. And
I think that's a smart idea.
It's important for sure. But that'll be at the booth tomorrow. So.
All right. Once again, thanks for watching, guys. I'll leave all the links in the description to the Elite Force stuff and the Instagram. Thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.